8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Greetings, good evening, how the hell are you on a crazy Thursday? 2 minutes after the top of the 9 o'clock hour, the Central Time Zone, 2 minutes after 7 on the West Coast. Everybody on the East Coast, how you doing? Good to see you, glad to meet you. Phil, Stamper and Stan Grubb have your timetable. And if you're in the Mountain Time Zone, just call Ted Guinness. He'll tell you exactly where to get off. I mean, what time it is.
No, don't call Ted. Why would you call Ted?
And why would you step over the intro?
Sorry, sir. I apologize.
Welcome into the Shooters Gallery, live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, ProWrestlingRadio.net, all the way across the board. And, of course, for everybody listening on the Beyond Ringside channel on TuneIn mobile radio or TuneIn app, thank you so much. From Studio One, I am the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, being joined by tag team partner, the President of Wrestling, Phil Stamper.
I need to know, since you call yourself the Motor City Motor Mouth.
Magic City Motor Mouth.
Whatever, same thing.
Not quite.
Do you do auctioneering?
I have before, yes.
I've always been curious.
Yes,
there you go.
I have.
And then he kills it. I'm sorry, he killed the bit. All right,
I didn't kill the bit. I just answered the question. What is this, a congressional hearing? Tell the truth, move on.
What do you think we are, the Mike O'Mara show? I mean,
oh God!
Hey, you. That's harsh. I love Mike O'Mara and Don Geronimo.
Did you not know what happened this week
No.
on their show? It's
No, I worked during the
you
day.
gotta tell me. Don't.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
And welcoming in special guest panelists this week from Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio, Stan Grubb.
Yes, and welcome. It's glad to be here. Yes.
Ted Guinness may be joining us a little bit later in the evening. Shane Noles out this week. He is working tonight. Now, where were we?
Okay. So to those who might not know, there used to be a nationally syndicated radio show called The Don and Mike Show. Very, very popular.
Greatest talk radio in history, period.
Yeah. I would say the same thing. When the show ended, Mike for a while had his own show, not as syndicated, but still at some stations across the country. And then, like many people have done, he moved on to podcasting. The final iteration of the station he worked for was CBS, and CBS flipped all their stations to sports at one point. So he moves on to podcasting, has a daily podcasting radio show. He's still on a couple markets, the Mike O'Mara Show. And I listened religiously for a year, or almost since the beginning of their podcast time. Was a fan. Like, honestly, I don't have many fandoms that I enjoy, because typically if I enjoy something, I want to do it. So I'm involved with it. So was a fan of the Mike O'Mara Show. Gone to live events, supported sponsors, helped out with the show in some marketing ways, did some commercial reads for them, things like that. So fast forward to about last summer, I started to realize I think the show is aging out for me. I think Mike's in his 50s, but would be so curmudgeon-y and angry all the time that I'm like, sometimes it was uncomfortable to listen to. And then even sometimes the way he talked to other folks on the show felt uncomfortable at times.
Oh, like Jim Rome.
Do what?
Oh, like Jim Rome.
There you go. And, sometimes I knew, they're working it up for, their audience and the crowd, because he came in that era of hot talk, and, you egg each other on, you bust each other's balls a little bit. Okay, whatever. So, what was I going to say? Shoot. So as I started feeling this way, at the same time, I'm hearing Mike say, like, he wishes the fan base was more interactive. And he has a call-in day. He does all these different things. But he always also hated when people came in with, quote-unquote, an agenda. If they were calling into the show and they had, like, a pre-planned thing they wanted to do, he said he hated that. He wanted more natural interaction, more natural conversation.
Organic.
Right. So it's a podcast, so, you listen to it kind of whenever. I was listening to the show on my way into work, and Mike, one of the hosts, now lives in Florida while the other guys are in D.C. They've started a whole broadcast studio. It's part of a network called podcast village where they actually have a studio, a full-fledged two-studio, where you can rent time there, do professional podcasting, all sorts of stuff. They're moving into videography. Like the setup they have is really awesome in the middle of DC. So it was really good for them to have guests there too, because guests don't really have to go that far. They're right there in Northwest Washington. And Mike again was broadcasting from DC or from Florida. Well, of course they always make fun of Florida. So they had a Florida story. And so in my brain, they have a fan page that I was on, and I go, what is in all the stories we hear about Florida, and I'm trying to remember the exact wording. It was like, crazy, cantankerous older people, drug addicts, whatever, or something. I try to say it more funny than that. What is the most Florida thing about Mike? And I tag Mike in it, and I didn't think anything of it. It's 8:30 in the morning, and they record it like 9. So I get a message. Wow, you really pissed Mike off. So I know people who are friends of the show, or who also listen to the show are friends of mine. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I listened to the show. Mike misread it in a way that made it sound like I was an idiot of the internet, had improper grammar that he called out. And I'm like, I didn't. And you actually missed part of what I read. And then went supernova explosive heat on me. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, what? And it's not like I've never talked to these guys before, too. So, I reached out to him, and I was like, listen, this was not what I did not mean to piss you off. That was not the intent. I thought I wrote this as a gentle poke. Like, this was not me making fun of, you in this really weird, hardcore way that you were saying I was. And you misread what I said. My apologies. I'll delete it right now. And I deleted it. And I made up an apology on the fan page, which then got deleted by the admin of the page. The next day, they had one more day of shows left before winter, their winter vacation. I couldn't even listen to it. I was like, I feel now I'm so turned off on the show, I can't listen. So they took a 2-week vacation, came back. I haven't listened to an episode since. So yesterday, and I still have friends who listen to the show. I have a colleague in my office that listens to the show. So I'm on my way home, and somebody messages me again and is like, hey, did you hear what happened on the Mike O'Mara show today? I was like, no, I don't listen anymore. He goes, well, they don't have a new show today. It's a best of show. And I was like, okay, why would you tell me this? And he goes, they film live, so they air it live on YouTube. And there has been a running thing about a few months ago. One of the co-hosts, Rob Spiewak, his wife wasn't going to come to their live show in Las Vegas, and she had to work. And she works for a school system now. I'm familiar with this, not because I don't work for a secondary school system. For those of you who know, I do work in higher education. But in the public school system, quite often, if you try to take leave the day before a holiday, they're going to tell you no. Mm-hmm. And that's a standard sort of stock thing in education. They don't have enough substitute teachers. It's really hard to arrange time off like that. So typically they won't approve leave on the day before or after a scheduled leave day, especially holiday. So their live show was going to be on this holiday weekend. She couldn't get away. And Mike kind of was bashing her a little bit. And Rob's like, that's not the truth. This is, that's not what's happening. She wants to go. She can't go. I don't know what happened, but apparently over the last couple of weeks, Rob's wife, Carla, removes Mike and his wife from her Facebook page. Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
It's real now. So the opening segment of the show is addressing that. And Mike goes supernova. Rob tries to defend his wife. I know I've not seen it. I've not seen a clip. I've only heard of this because they did not then take the show and air it on their podcast. They scrubbed the show. The show's not on YouTube anymore. You can't find it online. I've heard a rumor of a statement that Rob and his wife might be getting a divorce. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. But that Rob and Mike just blew up at each other. And that it created such a moment of just real heat with each other. They've erased it. It's done. And it's over with. So the fan page was blown up. I got messages from people last night. I'm like, I'm not even in this community. I'm not like this regular member that people would know me. I'm not with like what they would call a P1 that's so involved on the show that like you would pick me up in a crowd. And it was just weird to get some comments. So I made a comment on their fan page last night. Like, listen, I have got a few messages from you. I'm sure they're going to be fine. Like, I know there's issues. And I said a couple, like, you know, I made this post. Mike blew up. I haven't listened since. Kind of felt the show was aging out for me. I hope, you know, I know they're going to get past it. I really hope they take this moment and, you know, look at the heart of the show, because that's what we all come for. And it's going to get better. It has to get better. They've not removed the comment, but they've stopped it from being able to be commented on.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what the hell it's the weirdest thing. But I do make these weird parallels. So here's the transition. Here we go. I do make these weird parallels to the wrestling world, because, you know, I know that we have in wrestling some very active fans, really engaged fans, which are awesome. At the same time, there's that moment of like, okay, maybe you need to, you know, step away. Do you understand? Like, you know, what I'm doing is what I'm doing is what I'm doing over here. You know, you're watching me do this. You're not a part of me doing this. And so I can understand that perspective too. Okay, I need some privacy. I need some alone time. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to think where this comes of. Like Julia Roberts on Family Guy. Me, that you want that attention in this weird way. At the same time, you don't want your private life to be spoiled in front of everybody. It's this weird balance when you're in front of people and celebrity. And at the same time, like, you also have to realize there's a weird balance when you're a person in front of people and a celebrity. And that, you know, you can't keep working your boys because they're going to get pissed at you. So I just think, you know, that's a leading example of like what can kind of happen when you don't sort of take that break away or address an issue. I think that's the bigger issue. I don't think they ever addressed the conflict they had with each other. You know, Stan and I had a moment. We discussed it offline.
We did? We had
kidding.
a moment?
Yeah, we had a moment. It was a real moment. It was such a moment.
I'm emotional right now.
Yeah, dude. But it just leads to all that. Like, okay, sometimes you gotta like get out of your ego, clean it up, move forward. And if you're in the public role, like, you also got to realize, well, wait a minute, I need to readjust myself. How is this coming off? Because if you're about building up your fan base and wanting more people to listen to you, well, what is it your fan base is telling you? And if your fan base is saying like, dude, what the hell is going on? What is wrong? Now you're actively kicking me off your fan page because, and some of them have said this too. This is not my case, but other people have started up their own fan page for this particular show because they don't feel that they can speak freely. And I was like, I'm not going to be associated with this other page. I don't want to go towards that kind of negativity. I don't need that. If I'm negative on the show, I don't need to hear people being negative about the show. I just chose not to participate. So I'm like, I don't know if that got me blocked. Not blocked, but people unable to comment on my thing. But I guess then also one of the administrators on the fan page has now been blocked from the show. And I'm like, what? I don't understand. Like, what the hell is happening? So I think they're at a point where they really need to evaluate themselves. But now they're financially committed because they've opened up a studio, a real professional production studio in the heart of Washington, D.C. So it's not like you can go like, okay, guys, we hate each other. Peace out. Bye. So goes entertainment.
You know, that I remember that fateful last episode where they were on JFK and Don was saying his goodbyes to everybody in radio, which as I don't know if I would consider myself a P1, but I was definitely a dedicated listener. But it was an emotional show. And I remember, he's like saying goodbye to Rob A. He's saying goodbye to Mike, and thinking to myself, these guys are so well known in the area. It would have been ridiculous for them to not ever come back. So Geronimo comes back, goes to JFK for like 2 months.
Right.
Doesn't work. It's not his fault. It just was the wrong format. And he does podcasts for a short term and then he's done.
Right.
Mike, on the other hand, decides, I'm going to carry this on my shoulders. And that's just the guy that Mike is, because, he's a born entertainer. But you're absolutely right, because I did listen to their show a little bit. But I much like you, I kind of stopped. Because it was just like, it was this uncomfortable like angst between them, and you start noticing just these issues. You're like, wow, that's just a shame. And that's really a shame that they would even start blocking fans and everything. But you're right, because if you look at my Facebook page now versus like a year ago, I don't interact like with anybody anymore. I just don't. Like, if you catch me on Facebook Messenger, it's probably your best bet. But I will, the only time, and even on the C2C group page, I won't post much, because there's got to be a separation of like church and state. There's got to be, because I mean, not that I'm like any kind of hot stuff, because I don't really think I am, but I've found that just by interacting on air, just by interacting with people now that I'm meeting and actually working with in the industry, I just want it to be separate. So yeah, I totally know how you feel.
Yeah, and I don't, and wrestling, when I say this, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, because I've said before, like WWE, for example, is not a wrestling show on television. It's a television show that sometimes features wrestling that stars the McMahon family.
Mm-hmm.
In that same vein, if you think about it, wrestling is the first reality show. It's a look inside of these people, and like really this sense of like, wow, this is really happening. Is it? And they're doing these feats of athleticism and amazing things, and these stories that people get hooked on and buy into. And so there's this feeling of personal connection that, wow, like I connect because of what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're expressing themselves, whatever that connection is, people are bought into it. But at the same time, like if you're watching Arrow and you're like, the Mark Guggenheim really must hate Stephen Amell because he's making Stephen Amell do this thing this week.
Wow, I never actually thought of it like that.
Like,
that's kind of crazy.
Like, think about that. But yet here we are. We're in the first 20 minutes of what's probably going to be a 2.5-hour podcast, maybe 3, and we're excuse me, radio show. I apologize.
Get it right.
That's internet radio.
And we're gonna dissect the happenings inside of wrestling because it's so vivid to us.
Actually, I thought we were dissecting the inner workings of different podcasts with the way you were going for the first 20.
Right? I mean, it's so inside baseball. Somebody's like, "Wow, this is okay."
But again, where my connection is, like, I don't have fandoms. Like, I don't have things that I'm totally like, "Oh wow, I'm geeking out on." Like, I have Doctor Who, and even that's a little waning right now. Though I love the new Doctor, I think the show writing is horrible. I have the Arrowverse on DC, which again, there are some things that I'm like, I don't know, I like what they're doing, but I'm still a fan of those characters, so I'm going to keep watching.
I stopped watching most of those due to the after they started really just going bat nuts crazy on the Flashpoint paradox. Even when they tried to set things right, they still weren't right, and I'm sitting back going, this is making less sense than trying to find impact on television.
Ooh. I mean, have you read the Flash comics though? Because they're kind of in line.
Okay, okay, depends on what era you're talking about. Are you talking about when I was a kid in the 70s and reading them into the 80s, or are you talking about after Zero Hour, after Final Night, after the New 52, after the newer than New 52? I mean.
Now I will say what's finally kind of, well, I shouldn't say finally, because when the show started, they had huge ratings for Arrow and Flash.
Yeah.
And what has now sort of re-energized the fan base is at the end of this year's, they always do a once a year everybody crosses over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So what they've teased at the end of this year's crossover is that next year they're doing Crisis on Infinite Earth, because it's a big mega comic book. Everybody who knows comic books kind of knows that there was a crisis. They might not know all the details of it, but like knows that there was this thing in comics. So people are already like, they're speculating on the storylines of things, like how Arrow must be ending because during the episode Oliver makes a deal that you don't see on screen with the Monitor that he's going to take his own life in exchange for Barry's, because somehow he knew that that's what Barry was going to somehow be sacrificed. Like, what? Like, there's things that, like, okay, does this all make sense and what's happening, and even in comic book terms. But fans are like so excited and in depth because they're just waiting for how the story is going to play out. But then they're like, Arrow's going to end and Legends are going to end, and then Supergirl's going to do this. It's not going to be Supergirl anymore. It's going to be Superman. I'm like, okay, guys, just breathe in, breathe out.
And that's what well, I got to cut you off because breathe in, breathe out. That's what a lot of people needed to do after the opening segment of SmackDown this week.
Yes.
Oh boy, did Vince ever grab everybody by the gonads and say, "Check out what I can do"?
But
look, I'm just going to go ahead and play this card because it's not the factor that it was the return of Kevin Owens, a person everybody loves to hate. It's not the factor of Kevin Owens' first night back normally would get the, oh my God, he's finally back, welcome, standing ovation, welcome back, blah, blah, blah. It's the fact that, look, and I'm just going to go ahead and say, screw the, folks, I have a tendency to be a loose cannon behind a live microphone every once in a while. Brace yourself because I'm going there. All the little social justice warriors that are on social media, in case, folks, you have not seen some of these things. Let's see. WWE Creative has now been accused of being racist because they pulled Kofi Kingston out of the championship match against Daniel Bryan and put in Kevin Owens. First off, Kevin Owens is Canadian.
Oh, I got one better for you.
Go ahead.
I got one better for you. So, okay, Kofi Kingston pulled from the main event. Yeah, like people were like furious. I get you. Monday night starts off with a 20-minute segment. Roman Reigns announces that he's in remission.
I was going to get to that. Yeah. Okay.
I know you were. I understand. You were probably getting to it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to steal thunder. I apologize.
Jump at the gun.
But here's the thing. People thought that the cancer was a work. It's like, okay, guys, let's whatever antidepressant you're on, whatever Adderall, whatever you got to get focused with your life.
No, everybody overdosed on dumbass pills if they thought that was please.
Like,
now,
okay, what?
I will say, so when I say this, I don't believe it was work, but I will say I saw one argument that I was like, I can see how someone might take it in that way. That, well, here is Roman Reigns filming a movie. Here he is on somewhere else with The Rock doing this thing. Here he is doing this thing. Here he's doing that thing. Now he's over here. Like, when would he have had time to go get treatment? When would he have time to go do this therapy and that therapy? Forgetting the fact that, he's probably a millionaire and like has some money to burn.
Right.
So
and if he doesn't, guess what? Cuz does.
Right. And who is his cousin?
Oh yeah.
Dwayne.
Right. So if it's a matter of, he didn't have the money or the time, or, well, why would he be hanging out with his family member while he's with a significant illness? Like, you need to look at those things. Like,
right. I mean, okay. So, one of my partners, Brian, has
full name, please.
Beaten cancer. And we talked about it, and he says, hey, it could be a work. I'm like, look, I'm not saying it's impossible. I got you. But everybody's treatment is different. Yeah. And then you get a medical professional on Twitter that basically puts the facts out there. And here's the best part. The best part was people were like, WWE paid him. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with all of you fans right now. I'm turning Twitter off. I'm putting the phone down. You guys are stupid.
No
like,
kidding.
What the hell?
Look, let's put the world in proper perspective. You can have 20 people on Twitter, all presented with the same empirical data, irrefutable, undisputable, undeniable evidence, fact. And each one of those 20 more than likely will spin it one of 100 different ways. People, look, okay, screw it. Sometimes people just get on Twitter to see themselves talk. And they want
people from Georgia. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. Hi, Danny. Okay.
Oh, well, okay, so there's one. I know a few.
Yeah, I know a couple in Florida too. Hi, Tom. Hi, Tom. Long time no see. How you doing, buddy? You know I love you, brother. I'll get a message from that in about 10 minutes now because it'll be delayed reaction. But lo and behold, you have people who are on social media who just want to make some kind of stupid argument just so they can stir ish up.
Mm-hmm.
You have people on social media, well, you know something, I just don't want to believe it's true, and I'm just going to sit here and tweet my displeasure. Hi, Hunter. I stole your bit. And I'm just going to make sure that nobody thinks that it's real.
Me and my friend Mark are not going to watch anymore.
I know. You remember the bit, too.
I do.
I still love that bit to this day.
I mean, we also have a president who is a fairly active tweeter.
Who, Captain
Whether-
Comeover?
Whether or not some of the information presented is 100% accurate. You know, that's details.
Okay,
Hey, but
see,
what's facts when it comes to politics? Come on. Right?
there's no such thing as facts when it comes to politics.
And you know, the president of the United
Ugh.
States really doesn't have, you know, power. What I say on Facebook and on Twitter, you know, that doesn't mean I really feel that way or I think that way or you know, it's just me. I'm just playing along.
He has no influence.
It's a bit.
Yeah. He's no influence. It's all a work, sir. It's all a work.
Remember, a WWE Hall of Famer is now our president. And Vince is laughing all the way to the damn office.
Oh, daily.
But
Daily.
Of course.
He loves what he does.
But I will say about Vince. So here, I'll bring in my only criticism I have about the whole Kofi Kingston. Okay, now here's Kevin Owens. Oh, it's probably now going to become a three-way at some point. My criticism is, oh, you mean they're doing the exact same angle with the WWE title that they're doing with the women's
title?
championship?
Yeah.
Like
exact-
they've done, at the
Okay.
Royal Rumble with both Royal Rumbles having a run-in random insert into as the last person. Oh, as they did over the summer with the same exact storyline, I think, during SummerSlam, was it?
I think
like,
so.
They're it's so bad. I mean, you know, it's one thing about wrestling if you recycle, you know, storylines that have happened before, gimmicks that have happened before, whatever. That okay, we understand that.
Like the Dusty finish.
You're redoing the same exact thing
Okay.
that you're doing at the same exact time
I know.
with
But
somebody else.
now here's the trick. And the first thing
I
that
was never with that woman.
the first thing that I
He was up all night.
there you go. I looked at the reactions, the facial expressions from Stephanie and Shane when Vince came out. What the hell? When Vince opened his mouth. What the hell? When Vince yanked Kofi out of the match. What the hell? When he put Kevin Owens in. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
You will, by WrestleMania, see the power struggle between Vince and the kids come to a head. Remember something. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, or Vince Jr., or Vinnie Mac, or Vin Man, or the McMannequin, whatever Shawn Michaels wants to call him this week, is getting ready to go run the XFL. So
Yep.
this will be, for a while, the final storyline. Once again, I did qualify and say for a while. This will be the final storyline for a while for Vince McMahon. And what better way to get him off the lineup? Because normally his music hits, people go batshit crazy. Hi there, how you doing? And just standing ovation, sing along, bow, we're not worthy, all that good crap. But lo and behold, who can go from babyface to heel in one sentence other than Steph, who they don't accept as a babyface to begin with? Fans will not let Stephanie McMahon be a babyface for 5 seconds because we've all come to be snake bit by her. It's like, she's going to be Sally Sunshine 1 minute and Bonnie Bitch the next.
Ooh, okay.
So lo and behold, I don't trust Stephanie McMahon's character. Most people don't by now. Most people with an IQ above dried wallpaper paste knows that she will try to flip inside of a second and a half. Vince can do it in a half a second. So now Vince is going to come, and I think so far he's done a beautiful job of coming across as the heel. Yanks Becky off, yanks Kofi off. I know that sounds sick and twisted. I'm not going to go any further. Don't follow up on those exact words. But lo and behold, this way Stephanie and Shane, they come together. They're going to find a way to get Vince out of power, get him neutralized or neutered or whatever, squeeze the grapefruits and just milk them dry for a minute, which really sounds even worse than what I said a minute ago.
This is going dark.
So that, yeah, badly. Hey, look, I don't need your help to let everybody know that I'm laying out innuendo out there that's really just kind of subversive.
Well, let's not forget that Vince once wanted Stephanie to, be his apparent baby mama in a storyline once.
Yeah, he also had Steph almost marry Taker while tied up to a symbol.
Correct.
And then, see, remember, it wasn't a sacrifice. He was just hung up on a symbol. Ain't that right, Bruce Pritchard? No, but seriously. So we're going to see a McMahon power struggle build over the next few weeks. Some people aren't going to give it a few weeks. Social media and message boards exploded. Because I'll be honest with you. I wanted to see Kofi and Daniel Bryan. I was happy with the possibility of Fastlane. Whether or not Rowan or any of the others interfered or the New Day came and did a run, whatever, I don't care. I wanted to see a one-on-one matchup between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. When this all took place, I just seriously sat back and said, well, here we go again. I have no reason to watch the rest of the show because I pretty much realize what is going to happen for the next 1 hour and 37 minutes. Click, change channel. Turn it on SportsCenter because I started watching it last night. Finally had a chance to. And then after I'm sitting back processing in my head, it took about 2 minutes really for me to sit back and go, we're going to see Shane and Stephanie rebel against Vince and they're going to have the power struggle. Oh my God, Stamper said it perfectly all over again, and it's the phrase that he just said a little while ago that he said back on a night of Back to Basics on a Tuesday night, probably about a year and a half ago. Philip, would you do the honors?
WWE is not necessarily wrestling on television. It's a television show that sometimes features wrestling starring the McMahons.
And here we go again. They had built Becky Lynch. Somehow or another, the cult following kicked in, and the man became Stone Cold Stephanie Austin right there. Becky Lynch became that anti-authority figure, and the people got in behind her, and Vince is going to sit back and say, ooh, I can milk this. I can go ahead and do this, and at the same time just piss everybody off. Here's the problem, Vince. The heat that you're getting for this is not heel heat. It's what in the mortal F are you doing heat? Same thing with Kofi. Except this one is biting the WWE in the ass on social media worse than they anticipated. You have the hardcore fans that wanted to see Kofi. Look, I've been in and around this crap since the mid-'80s. In it. Not just watching it, but in it. I was watching back in the late 70s. Yes, I can say that. And I'm one of the ones. Look, when I just realized it's like, okay, they're going to go ahead and do a triple threat somewhere down the road, but Kevin's going to have his return against Daniel Bryan, and there's no way that Kevin's going to go over in that title match because they're going to find a way to do outside interference, get Daniel Bryan disqualified, he keeps the belt, KO gets the win, and they're going to make it a triple threat at WrestleMania. Guess what? I no longer have to watch. Click. Prove me wrong, I dare you. Gentlemen, floor is open. Comments or thoughts? Phil Stamper first.
You're not wrong. Like, it's right there. It's just right there. It just is what it is. I don't think it's a racist decision by the WWE. In fact, from all accounts, it was Vince who was like, I want Kofi now to be presented on that upper stage. So, no. I mean, it's just the one of the issues that's been going on in a lot of even local promoters. We're seeing this. It's weird. It's weird how sometimes independent wrestling reflects off of the WWE and vice versa. Because a few years ago, more and more promoters were saying, like, I don't know what to do. The fan base isn't latching on the same way to some of our storyline elements. It's like they don't want the story. They want a quick payday, which then when you saw more and more of the rise of pop-up wrestling, or, these off matches that aren't bad matches, but, there's no storyline connection to what's happening, or the matches that are spot. Well, is that what fans want to see? What happened to the story? And it's a long burn, relatively long burn story for the WWE fans that they're not used to anymore, and they want more of a sudden payday. And our culture's like that. We don't want. I don't want to go down the whole other political path. I've already said my one other comment earlier today. That's my one for the day. But fans don't want this long story. They want more of the immediate payoff, forgetting that in a month and a half's time, when they're sitting in front of the television watching WrestleMania, that's when they're getting their payoff to the story they're telling now.
Well, hold on. I have to jump in for a hot second. Stand by. I'm going to throw to you next.
Okay.
Remember, they actually managed to pull off the long-form slow burn with Daniel Bryan the first time around. And people were ready to lynch Batista, Ray, and WWE Creative because they didn't get what they wanted at the Rumble, remember? Hunter came back the next, oh, did you not get what you wanted? See, that's still one of the funniest bits Hunter's ever done. All the way up until, with the exception of the one time in particular where he managed to get the blonde hair with big boobs to pull up her shirt. I'm going, thank you, Merry Christmas. But no, remember, once in a lifetime, the first one, not the second one.
Oops.
Cena Rock. They completed a year-long slow burn on that. But if you present it in a manner that piques the interest and keeps it at that level, when you got something so radically on point, and then you flip it, thinking, we can milk this, guess what? Most of the time, the fans are going to revolt on that. Even some of the workers are going to, even people in this business are saying, oh, God, not again. Here we go again. Triple threats are great and wonderful in moderation. WWE goes through triple threats like a hooker on dollar days.
Ooh.
Okay. Phil, finish your point, please.
No, I'm good. I was done.
Stan?
Here's the thing. I mean, you have to realize, and I like hearing the take from a lot of wrestling fans that they're like, yeah, this isn't booze because they don't like you as a character. This is booze because they actually hate you.
How can you hate someone you don't even know?
Here's the thing. It's just like when people thought that if they booed loud enough about Roman Reigns that it was going to get him off TV, and if they, booed loud enough and chanted CM Punk loud enough that it would change storylines. No. They're going to do what they do regardless of us fans that are old enough to say we don't like this for real. They don't care. They never have. They don't need to because we're not the audience they're catering to. We won't be. And the sooner that fans come to grips with the reality of, look, you have a choice. You have tons of different companies out there right now. Yes, your mainstream product is WWE. You're right. But you have so many filling in the gaps now. And coming soon this summer, you're going to have another one that, if they do it right, and I still say that's a big if. I'm hopeful, but it's still a big if. You're going to have a whole lot more options to come. So that being said, first off, Vince is, just like you pointed out, laughing his way to the bank because this was a storyline laid out the night that they came out there and said, we're going to make you guys the boss. No more absentee management. So what he was really saying is, welcome to the McMahon storyline until WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So now we've got, just like Phil pointed out, we got the same storyline on SmackDown and on Raw. And it all leads to Vince saying, no, we're going to put this person in there. And now it's, okay, so Triple H and Stephanie on Raw are like, what the hell's going on? And now Shane McMahon and Stephanie on SmackDown are like, what the hell's going on? and it's going to be team overthrow Vin Man. And that's what's going to happen. And all of a sudden fans are going to be like, yes, we finally get change. And here's what you're going to get. You're going to get Triple H's favorite guys still going over. Now, does that mean that his favorite guys have changed some? Yeah, sure, because we get Kevin Owens instead of Big Cass. All right, I got you. But we're not really getting any change. We're just being fooled or hoodwinked the entire time. So, like, it's like when fans complain and say, well, you know, they need to give the belt to Kofi because there's never been a black world heavyweight champion. Have we forgotten just how many black champions have been? And I'm not saying that there couldn't be more. Please don't misunderstand me. There's, of course, you've got Kofi, Big E, hell, even Xavier, to be honest with you.
R-Truth.
Oh, absolutely. But you have had
hold on. Former 2-time National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion Ron Killings.
True, but you realize how silly it sounds to say, based off just this Kofi thing, that WWE is racist. I'm not saying they've never done a racist thing. I mean, let's be real. They put Hulk Hogan back on TV after everything and said, hey, he's here to celebrate such and such. And pretty much every single African American that has anything to say about anything said this is a huge slap in the face.
Stan, do you not remember the backlash when the New Day vignettes first started? And they had the New Day looking like pastors in a black or African American church, backed up a gospel choir. How many people were on social media going, thank you for just throwing every stereotype in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but see, WWE has done that for years. Wrestling has done that for years.
Centuries.
Yeah, look at what JYD did when he first started to when he was done. Every single time he came out. I mean, the guy would do promos and talk about how he was going to go get chicken and all of this. And people, you know what people did back then? It was, well, yeah, man, that guy's really a man of the people.
Okay.
But if you did that now, if you had a character like JYD now, do the same promo, do the same stuff, and work for Vince McMahon.
There's a difference. Back in the era of JYD, 90% of the promos were not scripted. In this day and age, in 2019, 99% of the promos are scripted. So there's a huge I hate to do that to you, but there is a huge difference there. What JYD was saying back in the 80s and early 90s was JYD talking. What's being said nowadays is creative talking.
May very well be the case, but he knew exactly what was going to get. He knew his audience.
Oh, God, yes. That's
why all I'm saying, and I'm not saying that he did it from a racial overtone. I'm saying that he did it because he knew it would generate the reaction that he wanted. And he also knew that if he wanted to get the people and keep the people on his side, that was the way to do it. And of course, anybody that had any semblance of any kind of intelligence had to tell him, you're brilliant, keep doing what you're doing because this is perfect. And that's what they did. They didn't stop him and say, you can't say this, can't say that. So you're right. There was no script to that as far as what JYD was doing versus what we would see today. But the bottom line is everything they're doing right now has, I hate to say it, it's already been done. And nobody ever just sits back and says, well, wait, this is the same thing they've done. I mean, you'd think that Vince and Paul Heyman were like drinking together now because they both love triple threats just so much. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. But it's all the same stuff. So, you know, you got to at some point sit back and just realize, okay, wait, what's the long game here? And no one has the stomach for it anymore. Just like I think, Phil, you actually said it. Nobody wants the long game anymore because if it's not done in a month, then it's too boring. It's so sad. All right, that's my soapbox. I'm getting off now.
It's okay. I've been
What were we talking about?
I've been rushing like a madman. I was trying to pull up the song by the Bare Naked Ladies. It's all been done before, and I just, for some reason, the internet on this particular laptop is just slower than Christmas right now, or Hanukkah, or Festivus, or Kwanzaa, whichever one you want to put all the way in December, which is what I was going for.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Flying spaghetti monsters, gotta love them.
Hey, $20 says that when Kofi wins the title at Mania, see what I did there? When Kofi wins the title at Mania, people are going to compare it to when Ron Simmons won it. Because, that's the stereotype. That's what we do.
But see, let me throw this one at you too. You bring up, let's go back 80s, 70s, early 90s possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned Junkyard Dog. Well, let's go ahead and go and bring in the natural Butch Reed. Let's bring in the big cat Ernie Ladd. I mean, trust me, those gentlemen all cut different style promos, but they were unscripted. They could have been bullet pointed. Hey, look, you got such and such on this date in this town. Make sure to cover that point. Other than that, cut a promo. This was back in the days when stars knew how to cut a damn promo.
True.
Look, when Dusty was conducting promo class at NXT, something I think Paul Heyman could now teach quite effectively, I had hope, because you have one of the best microphone workers on the planet teaching or attempting to teach other people how to cut that promo even while being scripted. I think that's part of the problem that we face in this world as far as the main stage of professional wrestling. When Stan can work for UCW, when Phil can work for Real Shoot Wrestling, MCW, or any one of the 93 different promotions that and I got a new one on the way. I'm going to cover that in just a minute too. And when I can work with the brand new Coast to Coast Championship Wrestling, or actually, I apologize. Yeah, if I said another wrong U word, I apologize, Stan. I should have said Ultimate for you. It's Universal for me.
That's all right.
Did I say UCW or did I say Universal?
No, you said UCW.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. Or Peach State Wrestling Alliance. And I see, put it this way, one of the best promos right now on the grassroots level, localized, regional, whatever, is a gentleman who is the Mac of all trades, AC Mac. This man cuts a promo like nobody's business. He is one of the best on a microphone going today. And I work with some tremendous talent down here in the southeastern U.S., just like I know Phil works with in the Northeast and Stan works with in the Mid-Atlantic areas. So, lo and behold, when I see AC Mac, or hear or watch AC Mac, cut a promo that blows away half the main roster on WWE, whew, boy. Because, see, it's like, this is the fun part for us. Because all three of us work in this industry. And when Ted Guinness is here, he's worked in this business. Shane Noles is here, he works in this industry. We understand the art form of cutting a promo. But see, Phil, how often do you get scripted on a promo?
Well, it varies, honestly. There are a couple places that want to do it that way. But often, more than not, I might be told, talk about this.
Bullet
Go.
point.
Right.
Bullet point. Same thing with me. Stan? Now, I know in your role as a commentator... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, creatively, we get pretty well free reign as long as we stay within the navigational beacons.
And I'm fairly safe in assuming if you give us the bullet points or give us the objective for the promo, we can run with it. But yet Vince and creative in WWE doesn't even have the faith in their own 6- and 7-figure earning stars to cut a promo properly. The majority of them. And we've seen Ronda Rousey.
Can we just call it out? Can we just say it? Like, Ronda Rousey should never be on a microphone, and she's not ready to be on the WWE. Like, she should have gone to NXT. She should have done private coaching sessions for a little bit longer, but there was a rush to get the payoff of having her on the WWE stage, and therefore she's not ready. Therefore, she's getting booed out of her chair. I mean, they're ending up turning her when she doesn't want to be into the new Bret Hart against Becky Lynch's Stone Cold.
That's why they threw Charlotte Flair in there to give people a heel.
Well, Ronda was already the heel. They had already promised the spot to Charlotte, so therefore it was always going to be Charlotte's. It was just going to be now adding Becky Lynch because now she's gotten such a great reaction from the crowd.
Daniel Bryan-itis. It's a popular affliction.
It's a thing that Ronda was supposedly working with Heyman backstage, and he was the one that was supposedly helping her. But when she got up there Monday night, was in such a damn hurry, she just couldn't get out of her own way, and then she tripped up on her promo, and then it just came off flat.
The ginger douche.
That was a good line.
I loved it.
That was a really good line.
No, I loved it. I'm not bitching. Trust me, I loved it.
But she was in such a damn hurry, and she rushes out there, and she's like fumbling with the belt, and it's like, dude, you're not coming off strong here. You're coming off like you're nervous and scared.
We could tell she was.
Yeah, and so here's the person that's supposed to be the baddest bitch on the planet, and she's coming off like a very timid doe in the woods. And it just doesn't work.
And that's just it too. Like, I think we get where she wants to go with who she is in the ring. At the same time, her body language doesn't show that. Her face doesn't show that. She looks like a pouty 5-year-old, not I'm angry and I'm going to beat your face in. And it's funny that she makes a comment about what is actually possibly could be a good legitimate armbar on Becky Lynch's side when her armbar, who from a professional MMA fighter who has what she won, I can't remember what medal she won in judo
Silver.
in the Olympics.
Silver.
Was it gold? I thought it was bronze.
Silver.
So whatever she won. That her armbar is one of the worst in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and she knows what she's doing. So it's like, I just don't. And now they're going off about, that's fake.
Bronze. I'm sorry. I thought it was silver. It was bronze.
Forget the script. This is from a tweet from Ronda. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. Forget the script. When I see you, I'm beating the shit out of you.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing? Like,
they're trying to appeal to the internet crowd, which is a huge mistake. It's just a huge mistake.
But see, the internet crowd is the most vocal right now. It's the most vociferous. It's the most boisterous. The majority of the people who genuinely enjoy the WWE product for what it is don't get on social media and talk about it that much. It's the stark raving little bitches out there that get so adamant and so belligerent about the least little thing. I mean, it's like it takes a genuine lot to piss me off when it comes to the WWE. Disgusted? Tuesday, first segment, SmackDown, yes. Pissed off, no. Big difference. It's like, it's all been done before, and no, I still don't have the soundbite queued up.
It's one of those things where, with Kurt Angle, when he first transitioned in, you knew that he was nervous, but you knew you had something special, right?
Right.
You knew that he had room to work and room to grow. And he had the right talent around him to help him grow. Ronda is in that position. So it's certainly not a lost cause. But she is being thrust into the spotlight so hard and so fast that, honestly, regardless of whatever rumors you may buy into, I wouldn't be surprised if she's done at the end of the WrestleMania season and she's just like, yeah, I'm not coming back.
So the unfortunate thing is, I mean, she was rushed. She was pushed so fast, so hard. It's just not working out in the way that they want now because it's just not. They pushed it too hard. They pushed it the wrong way. Okay, we got it. And I do feel bad for her because I don't think it's not like she's trying to go out there to do a bad job, you know?
No, she's working hard and her matches show that.
Yes.
It's her her mic work that is just like,
because
wow,
you're trying to
someone is
script
not
somebody
helping.
that's not used to being scripted. You're trying to look. The reason why she rushes through so much is because she loses her place and she doesn't want to lose her place. It's kind of like when John Cena called out Roman Reigns. It's called a promo. You're going to have to learn how to do one. Because Roman got lost in where he was supposed to be on his promo with John Cena. And what's funny is even John Cena screwed the pooch on that night. Because when Roman laid out the bullet points that he laid out, John Cena tried to flip the script on him, and he flipped the wrong script.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey tried to rush through that promo so she wouldn't forget it, because if you notice, she's going 90-0 through the first couple of minutes of the same thing, and she turn around from there, and then she slows down when she gets to the payoff line. She was afraid she'd forget. She was afraid that she would mess up. In my humble opinion, I might be wrong. I've been wrong once or twice in my life. I'm not afraid to admit that. But the way it came across to me, she was trying to get to a point that she wouldn't risk losing her place or forgetting. That's why, like I said, go back and watch. Because when she got to the end and got ready to lay the belt down in front of Steph, she slowed down in order to try to recapture or capture, depending on your perspective, the emotion of the moment.
She was so stuck on trying to get the point out there that she forgot the point.
She sounded like an auctioneer.
Well, that and then when she's trying to like lay the belt down, she didn't even have a good grip on the belt as it was. Like she was fumbling with it.
Yeah.
And then like the whole point of this segment was for her to be the defiant champion that says, if you're not going to give me what I want, I'm leaving. But it comes off almost like a diva
or
that
a child.
Please don't punish me, but I'm going to lay the belt down.
Right.
Which that's not who Ronda Rousey is.
No.
But I don't think that you've got a writer out there that truly knows what a fighter thinks. You know what I mean?
On the other hand,
like,
I do. I could actually have written a better bit for her on that. The reason why is because I work with mixed martial arts promotions. I've done commentary for mixed martial arts promotions, Sport Fight X, Strike Hard Productions. I've done interviews with probably about 60, at least 60 mixed martial artists on this show. Have I been in a cage? No. Have I been in a cage other than to do ring announcing? No. Have I fought? No. I'm not going to lie. Can't do that. But by the same token, the interviews that I've done and listened to the way from everybody from Eric Anders all the way through Let's Shoot the Moon, Dan Severn. I've had great conversations with rookies all the way up to champions. So yeah, I could have written a better bit for Ronda, a better promo for Rousey than what she was given the other night.
No, and that's true, but what you got to realize is that they're writing not for the wrestler or the fighter, they're writing for the owners. So they're writing for the McMahons. And without the, casual love affair that Triple H has going on with MMA, there isn't a buy-in for what she brings in credibility. See, they have the marketability of Ronda Rousey, the person, the brand. But they don't have an understanding of what it really means. It's why Brock Lesnar is utilized so poorly. It's why Brock Lesnar should have never had Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor unless Balor was going to win. And it should have almost been like unadvertised. It should have been that much of a shocker. Because if Brock Lesnar is positioned the right way, honestly, we all complained about it. I mean, every last one of us complained about how Brock was only there like once every few months.
Right.
But that was the way to do that for Brock. Because it was a prize fight. That is what they should have done with Ronda. Yes, people would have hated her for it. And you could have banked money off of it. Because the one time she loses, regardless of who it's against, would be big dollars. But because they don't understand what it really means to have like a fighter mentality box office draw, and because the writers are writing for the McMahons, Triple H included, they're not writing for what the audience would recognize as a badass promo. They're writing for what the McMahons would think. And so you've got, just like you said, Ronda Rousey trying to perform to a level that she thinks would be accepted by the McMahons. She's not performing to the level that she is. Give her an opportunity to talk to Becky Lynch back and forth, fighter to fighter. We've already seen that she can do it. Give her a situation where she's got to go one-on-one, face to face with the McMahons or with Triple H, and unless there's extreme coaching involved, she's just going to flop. She doesn't have the comfort zone yet to banter with as fighter to employer. She doesn't even understand that dynamic because nobody's taken the time to explain it to her.
Okay, I hate to do this, but we are just past the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and wrap up hour number 1. We went a little bit longer than I thought we would. I lost track of time because we were having so much fun on the discussion. We do have upcoming live events. For those of you who are watching this first hour on YouTube and Facebook video, please drop on over. Podomatic, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and of course, if it is before the second full weekend of March, this will still be in rotation on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio, available through BeyondRingside.com, as well as ProWrestlingRadio.net and the TuneIn channel, the Beyond Ringside channel on TuneIn Radio. At Fast Eddie Layne, at PS Phenom, at Shane Noles, at Ted Guinness, at Stan from Krypton, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live, and of course, BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net, our home. Folks, for those of you on the live side, hang tight. We're going away for a couple of minutes. For those of you catching us on replay, we'll be back sooner than you think. This is the Shooters Gallery on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Howdy, friends. It's the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne with your invitation to join me, Mark Mabo Bowman, and Brooks Logan Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Find us on BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net, and the Beyond Ringside Radio app for Amazon, Android, BlackBerry, and a whole lot more. Once again, that's Sundays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
This is Country Jack, Corey Hollis, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
This is Larry Goodman, GWH News and Notes, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
This is Dr. Tom Pritchard, and if you want to listen to the best in professional wrestling, get locked in to Beyond Ringside.
I feel like I should intro this hour by doing a rendition of the Abominable Snowman.
I don't even know what you just said.
Abominable.
No, Abominable.
It's
Remember,
abominable.
Bugs Bunny.
Inconceivable.
No, Unfathomable. Thank you, Jordan McNear.
It's without fathom.
Onomatopoeia.
I don't care where your onomatopoeias. If your onomata has to go pee, let your onomata go pee.
Well, it's not mine. Must be urine.
With where did he go? With where did he go? Where's the little bunny rabbit I saw on TV last week?
This is where we're going, isn't it?
Say again. I was switching headsets.
I said, this is where we're going in it.
At a strong hour number one and hour number two.
After we sort of, we bashed a little bit of people on the internet. Now we've become the people on the internet.
Oh, now you give me a feeling I cannot be trusted.
You know, kind of like a lot of people are looking at the honky tonk man going, what's he really going to say when he goes up for the Hall of Fame this year?
I'll be honest. I really swore he was already in.
No.
I really thought he was already in.
Oh, his El Nizal.
So he was supposed to go in years ago.
Yeah.
Right? 2008, 2009. He took some booking in Canada to basically say F you to Vince because he wanted a payday on top of doing the Hall of Fame.
So I do, and this is why I thought he was already in, because I swear he had gone on Art of Wrestling with Colt Cabana and had an interview and said how they offered him to come in 1 year, but it was like, don't quote me, but like he lives in Phoenix or something, so it was like, I'm not gonna do it this year. Like I want a trip. Like he's like, I'm not gonna roll out of my house and be home in 30 minutes. Like I want to go somewhere. So he said, let's do it next year. And I swore, I really thought that he had then got it the next year. I don't know why my brain is misremembering this.
I've got one thing on my mind right now. Why in the mortal hell is the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff still not in the WWE Hall of Fame?
That's a damn travesty.
Because he's Russian. You don't put Russian in Hall of Fame at time of Trump. You don't do that.
You just sounded like the Iron Sheik.
Haktui.
Okay, close enough. and by the way, folks,
and Scotty sounded Irish. Actually, he sounded Pakistani. Excuse me, not Irish.
You're talking about Jimmy Doohan from Star Trek?
Yes.
Okay. And sorry, Captain. I'm giving her all she got. You're going to have to fire me. Scotty, you're fired. And for the record, welcome back into the Shooters Gallery on this Thursday night edition. Fast Eddie Layne over here. Phil Stamper, say hi.
Hi.
Stan Grubb, say hi.
Faster than a mid-Atlantic shake weight. Here we are.
And that just went real weird real quick. Ted Guinness and Shane Noles are both out this week. Be back with us next Thursday evening. We'll be back live. Yeah, when I saw the notification come out for that, because obviously it came out during the segment of Raw that I fast forwarded through. And like I said, I didn't go past segment 1 of SmackDown, just out of sheer disgust for the fact that, oh God, we're really repeating that much that soon. Of course, they made the announcement recently about D-Generation X as an entity getting into the Hall of Fame, which of course is the easy way to put Hunter in. And of course, this now gives Shawn Michaels a second Hall of Fame ring to go side by side with Ric Flair. This is actually, some people are sitting back going, it's the easy way to get China into the Hall of Fame. And I give credit where credit is due. Sean Waltman, of course, very deserving, had a great career on his own, but to get him in with DX, I'm okay with that. And of course, the New Age Outlaws should go in as a tag team, much less as members of DX. I will sit back and say, I was one of the ones who wondered why Rick Rude was glaringly omitted from the promo of DX. And Sean Waltman just recently did an interview with Wrestling Inc., and to where I read some of the transcript over on Lords of Pain. Some people are going to say, I see. But that's the reason why I went ahead and read it, because I don't have to. I don't have time.
I'm sorry.
I don't have time to listen to a whole bunch of other shows. Unfortunately, I work. I'm not independently wealthy. I have to actually perform a job. Technically speaking, of course. God, where did I originally hear figuratively speaking, of course?
Okay,
yeah,
I shouldn't stroll through Facebook as we're having a conversation.
You'll finish. You'll explain that one in a second, I'm sure. But let me go ahead and throw this one out there. He actually made the statement. Pronouns, pal. Thank you, Conrad. Waltman made the statement. I listen to Pritchard and Bischoff and occasionally Schiavone. I won't deny that.
Of the three, Schiavone's the funniest.
Normally, unless okay, this is where I'm going to draw heat. And with all due respect to Conrad Thompson, who I agree is pretty much in some circles the Podfather, I'll give him that. Tirelessly working to try to continue to build an empire, and I give him all the credit in the world for that. The first episode of What Happened When with Tony Schiavone, WHW Monday, What
happened when?
We're not doing that much of a promo for him. Come on. It was they ain't paying us crap. They're making money. I ain't making money on this crap. I spent $1,400 last year on this station. Thank you. But from there, when they did a Ask Tony Anything episode, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be cool. Let's give Tony a chance to really open up and cut loose with it. And lo and behold, every question that was asked via Conrad, Tony would answer, and Conrad would go over the top of him. It's like, dude, Shivani's supposed to be the star of the show. Why are you trying to show up the star? Why are you trying to go over the top of the star of the show? The one whose name is on the frickin' marquee.
It's so funny you bring up Conrad, because I have some Conrad stories, but we can get there when we get there.
We'll get there when we get there. Like I said, we're not giving them that much damn publicity, okay? They ain't paying me a dime. If they want to run an ad on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio, which they really don't need to do, but hey, I'll take the money. I don't give a damn.
Hey, I've told you I was never a big fan of him. I thought, like, with what he does with Bruce, especially Mr. Pritchard, that I thought he was just disrespectful. But then you hear him with Tony, and it's like, oh, well, okay, they have actual chemistry, so it kind of works. But yeah, I got what you're saying.
But see, here's the funny thing about this, and let's put the world in proper perspective, because I've said this before. Eric Bischoff doesn't care if he works for WWE ever again. He lays stuff out there.
True that.
Tony Schiavone is happy with where he is in life. If Vince calls and say, hey, want to come work for us? I'm sure Tony would say, hey, if I have the time, sure, love to. I knew when you listen to Bruce Pritchard, and this is not a knock on the show, please don't take it that way. Pritchard will still toe the company line to this day about ish that happened 25 freaking years ago. He will still, kayfabe is alive and well, kids. Plain and simple. Just listen to something to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. Because if you ask him the right question, kayfabe is alive and well. Because he will not openly bury somebody that he has the possibility of working with somewhere down the road. Oh, wow, what a surprise. Didn't the word get out that Bruce Pritchard is being brought back to WWE? I think that kind of got leaked out over the weekend.
I don't think it's a leak. It's a direct. He has a job. He's
yeah,
back.
Pretty much. So guess what? He played it smart. When you know that bridge ain't burned, don't torch the damn thing. So, but from that vantage point, yeah. So that's where I am with that whole scenario. So, Phil, if you want to lay one of the stories out there real quick, go for it.
I mean, so there of course is speculation. Bruce is going back to the WWE. So what is Conrad doing? Conrad, who owns StarCast, what is he doing? Bodyslam.net actually had a decent story that was about Conrad's been really quiet with one of his partners who he's doing a podcast with too. It's like, okay, what's going on? Jim Ross at the same time is saying, WWE is not happy that Undertaker's going to do StarCast. Well, now if they try to make an offer, I'm not saying this is what has happened, I don't know, but if they've tried to make an offer to Conrad, where does that put StarCast? Where does that put The Undertaker? Where does that put Conrad and his support and connection to everything that's been happening with All Elite? I almost said NXT.
AEW.
So it's a little like, oh, this is all interesting and up in the air. And at the same time, like, there are so many moves happening right now in wrestling. Like, I mean, all of the companies, all of them that are on a national level are making some significant noise and moves.
Not just national.
Right.
No, he's right on many levels. There's tons of companies making huge moves.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. Like, okay, what are you guys doing? And like you don't know, but that's I mean, in a weird way for me, that's part of the excitement.
Yes,
because you don't know, and because now like I know a good majority now of people who are up at those levels, and it's kind of interesting to see like, well, what are they getting into, and what are they doing, and what's happening next, and you kind of don't know. And for me, that's the only real drama left in wrestling right now. So
the real drama is who's signing with who and for how long, because the word's getting around is like Vince is trying to lock down some of his preferred talent to extended contracts, 3, 4, 5 years. Impact has come out over the last few days. Falaba signed new deal. Sami Callihan has signed a new deal.
Rosemary.
Rosemary. Really? Didn't know that. I hadn't seen that one yet.
Yep. She just signed it today.
And then from there, you've got MLW that is working to try to lock down certain pieces of talent. You've got, different companies like Ring of Honor working to continue to lock down certain members of the talent roster. So, and then, of course, we don't know what the hell Lucha Underground is doing. But by the same token, they're still holding certain people hostage, not knowing what their future is.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that I'd want to give them any press, to be honest with you. They're doing some people pretty dirty.
I know. But like I said, that's why I said they're holding people hostage. And, in my opinion, that's what it is. If you don't know what you're going to do, give the people that have been your core, if they need, because people need to go out and make money. And if you're holding them under a contract or an appearance agreement or an exclusivity agreement and you're not paying them, pay them.
Phil said it really well. The industry is making so many moves so rapidly that if you're not paying attention, in about 6 months, the landscape of the industry is going to be completely different.
Now, if Undertaker has reportedly, he's put this little gimmick out there, $25,000 an hour. Okay. I don't know if enough people can show up at an event and pay that much money to where it would be worth it to get Taker there for more than 1 hour.
I love this story because this happened right in my backyard. So the promoter in Virginia, if you want to call him that decided that he's going to go in and try to bring The Undertaker and Kane, says to his people before they even announced it, hey, if we tried to bring him, could we sell tickets for, and Phil, you might remember, $250 for the meet and greet?
Yeah.
So he puts it out there, and again, I'm not going to put his name out there, but he puts it out there and says, this is what I want to do. 50% say, yeah, we'll do it. 50% say, no, that's too much money. He goes ahead and he books it. I'm going to do it. Sets it up. He starts off, and every week he's doing updates on ticket sales. It's what every promoter does. It's great. But he's not telling the truth. Not only is he not telling the truth, he's not even close. So he starts posting on Facebook that he's only got a limited amount of seats left, trying to generate interest. But he's also kicking himself in the balls because no one's going to his site to buy tickets. Well, worse happens, and he doesn't make the money he needs to bring in Taker. So Taker goes on. Dead Man Don't Tweet. Former co-host of mine said this, and yet here we are in a world where The Undertaker tweets. So The Undertaker's people, or The Undertaker himself, goes on Twitter and essentially burns this Virginia promoter at this stake by identifying that he failed to meet his retainer. And then the story breaks the next week. No, it was only a few days after. Then the story breaks that it's $25,000 to book The Undertaker.
See, I'm sorry. I love Mark Calloway to death. He is a tremendous in-ring performer and a tried and true professional, but that's too much.
I have to agree, but I think he did it on purpose. I think that number gets put out there because for a while I was struggling to get. My biggest frustration when I first started with UCW was getting, outside of Phil, because Phil's just a great guy, getting return emails. I would send a request of, hey, listen, I'm working with UCW. I'm trying to help book for X date. I need to know what your fee is, right? So that's the information that was given to me from the promoter. And, of course, what I would do is I just send them out to folks that I had watched, like at Scenic City and all of that. But I wasn't getting responses. And when I did get responses, I was getting inflated numbers.
Yeah.
Because they thought I was a mark. So they're like, all right, let me back him off. Or let's see if he's just going to go ahead and throw money my way. So the more comfortable I got with it, the more, I kept trying. The people that have responded to me now know that, okay, wait, he's actually asking still. So there's got either this guy's just very persistent, or maybe he's on the level. Hopefully they think I'm on the level at this point. But regardless of that, it cracks me up because Taker he's only doing this to keep the money marks away. And to be honest, StarCast will draw $25,000. It will, if it hasn't already been done.
I'm pretty much willing to bet you. And folks, I'm not saying take me at my word, but let's put 2 and 2 together here. Undertaker and Bruce Pritchard are very close friends. Mm-hmm. Taker and Eric Bischoff don't have ill will with each other. Who do they have in common? Conrad Thompson. Yep. StarCast. So if you think for a hot second that Bruce Pritchard didn't call Taker and say, hey, my buddy Conrad, he's on the level. Cut him a deal. Of course. If I was Pritch, I would do the same damn thing. Mm-hmm. If I was Eric Bischoff, I would do the same damn thing. It would be a dream for Conrad Thompson to have you at StarCast if you're not doing anything that weekend. How much can you give him the good brother rate? As a favor to me. Yes, I genuinely believe that occurred. I have no problem believing that occurred. Because case point scenario, on the flip side of the coin, case point scenario, if I'm working with one of 4 promotions that I currently work with, and I want to try to get, let's say, I want to get Phillip in town to do a special guest appearance with Peach State at the anniversary show in May. And I know what Phil normally charges. I know what Peach State normally pays. If I can get them in the middle on that to where Phil will make almost the same amount of money that he normally would on a gimmick like that, and Peach State doesn't have to go up, through the roof, I'll do it. I put in a good word. I will put in a good word for a colleague and a person that I know and a friend in this industry so fast, you'll get tan from windburn.
Okay.
Seriously. I mean, that's the name of the business.
Breaking news. I now know where I rate when it comes to Eddie in the industry.
Well, normally it's hard to get you out of Virginia.
All right, that's fair. That's right.
I know your schedule.
That's true. You do. You probably know it better than, next to my girlfriend, you probably know it better than anybody.
Thank you. I pay attention. Because remember, we had to move heaven and earth to get y'all down to Scenic City that year.
Oh, God. You know what? As the guys joke with me about it, how it was the road trip from hell, that was still the most fun road trip we've had, maybe since Charlotte.
I mean, look, I would love to be able to convert the Peach State Wrestling Alliance anniversary show into the Beyond Ringside Radio Network gathering. I would. Say what?
I'm just agreeing with you. You know me. I want very badly for us to do this because I want to get everybody from the network together, including Wicked. But the last time he was supposed to be in an area, and I still haven't forgiven you for this, Wick. You no-showed, you little bastard.
Wick's rule of thumb is I don't go to a show unless I'm being paid. That's a lie. He's ridden with me on more than one occasion.
Yeah, he's got the Dennis Stamp approach. I'm not booked.
Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and let everybody know. As this is February the 28th, let me go ahead and go back to my calendar because for a special engagement on March 13, the To Be Determined show will be coming back for a spot show. It's going to be an outlaw run. It's going to be a one-night wonder. Because of scheduling conflicts, we don't always. We actually did a To Be Determined a few weeks back, and I made the promise that we'd get the band back together sometime in the next few weeks. And if things can be worked out, we're going to have a special surprise guest coming in on that show. I cannot tell you who it is, nor can I even hint. But if things work out, we're on that Wednesday, March 13th, we're going to have a surprise guest coming on board the To Be Determined show. Now, speaking of upcoming events, and I have to do this because I know we're already at 28 before the top of the hour, and I want to get us out of here right at the top of the hour, which will be midnight for you guys, 11 p.m. for me. Ted, you know what time it is, and Karen, I'm sure you do too, and there's a hidden joke behind that somewhere. Philip, I know you've got a live event coming up this coming Saturday, Real Shoot Wrestling. Take it away.
I do. It's going to. Of course, you asked me when I was least prepared to pull up anything. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling up everything just to make sure I see it. So, Real Shoot Wrestling taking place this Saturday at the Mannington Gym in Mannington, West Virginia, and we're scrolling. Okay. Mannington Gym, Park Drive, Mannington, West Virginia. This Saturday, March 2nd. T.J. Phillips has turned more violent than ever. TJ replaced me as the executive official, seemingly retired from active competition, has gotten back into the ring, and then surprised everybody, turned his back on everybody. Now he wants to take out and remove his mentor, Johnny Blast. He's also been stalking Real Shoot Wrestling owner Tim Cross. It's gotten creepy. It's gotten creepy, which reminds me of another kind of side story that is not connected to this that I have to tell you guys later about a mysterious letter I got. I'm not kidding. It's a legit weird letter. Then Mickey Fulp, the Suey from North Carolina, is coming up. He'll be taking on Chase Winters in singles action. We then
say that again. I'm sorry. The what?
The Suey of North Carolina.
Okay.
I know. He's you know what? He is a guy who I would sanction. I love Mickey Fulp. I think he needs to be seen by more people. And he's part of that faction of the Chance Risers, James Ryan, the Gymnasties, who will travel anywhere and everywhere. So I love that group of them. The hashtag not locale. I know it's local, but they put capital L, little O, capital C, A L. So I always say no cal whenever I see it. Also, one of the Buffalo Boys makes their way down to Real Shoot Wrestling this Saturday as Puff comes in town to take on Beastman. This is going to be a huge hoss battle. Also, speaking of Chance Riser and OMG James Ryan, teaming up together to take on the RSW Tag Team Champions, the Handsome Devils. The Devils have been on a tear. Meanwhile, Chance Riser trying to recover from a loss, as he not only lost his internet title, he also lost his opportunity in his rematch. So he is now looking for a way to get some more momentum and some steam. James Ryan got this opportunity for the matches and is bringing Chance in to try to cheer his buddy up for another opportunity for gold at Real Shoot Wrestling. And then in the main event, heavyweight champion Chris LaRusso defends against Andrew Pallas. And can Pallas step up to the challenge and take out LaRusso? All of this, again, taking place this Saturday at the Mannington Gym on Park Drive in Mannington, West Virginia.
And speaking of appearances, our tag team partner Shane Noles will be in the ring this coming Saturday night under the banner of Peach State Wrestling Alliance in Carrollton, Georgia at the VFW Fairgrounds, 1625 Bankhead Highway. As he and Austin Madison will be in a mixed tag team Kiss Our Feet match. Shane Noles and Austin Madison taking on the combination of Matt Gilbert and Katie Ono. Shane, of course, last week continued the quote that he laid out there for all to hear at the previous PWA live event. He said, once we beat you, not only will you kiss our feet, you can also kiss our asses. Plain and simple. Mixed tag team Kiss Our Foot match, and that is a plural hour. Thanks for playing. The No Limits Championship will be on the line as the brand new champion Ace Haven, who actually recently won it back on February at the early February PWA live event. I almost miscalled the date because I'm stuck in February. It was February 2nd. Thanks for playing. I got it right. Holy crap. Alongside, of course, his wife and manager, Amy Haven, will be defending against Marco Polo. It's going to be an awesome matchup. I really wish I could be there for that one. I'll explain later. One-on-one action as Cyrus the Destroyer goes up against the exotic one, Simon Sermon, this coming Saturday night in Carrollton. One-on-one action as Shane Marks, the Revelation, with DeWitt Dawson by his side, will be taking on Charles Zanders, making his return to Peach State Wrestling Alliance action. One-on-one action as formerly one half of the beautiful Bald Besties, and of course striking out on his own, Marvelous Michael Stevens, the one, the only, going one-on-one with Jackson Castle this coming Saturday night. Also, Tag Team Championship will be defended, as I am pulling a Phil Stamper because I have it over here, and I just have to make sure that I get the quote properly. Thanks for playing. There's that line again. Ha ha. Hey, Cosper, get the lines right. That's all I'm going to say, dude. What's up, Brooks? We're going to have more shout-outs on this show than I've got active brain cells. Yeah, there you go. The Tag Team Championship will be on the line this coming Saturday night. Beauty and the Beast defending against Kelvin Heights and Fletcher Malone. This match just added yesterday. Looking forward to tag team action this coming Saturday night. Title on the line. And speaking of the championships, in the main event this coming Saturday night in Carrollton, the PWA Heritage Championship will be defended as Sal Renaro defends against P-Dog Mike Posey. Tickets still very much available. Check out PeachStateWrestlingAlliance.com. And, of course, you can find on Twitter at TheRealPWA. On Facebook, Peach State Wrestling Alliance, Georgia. And, of course, Instagram, Peach State Wrestling Alliance. The email address is pwafanbase@yahoo.com. By the way, cameras will be rolling this Saturday night in Carrollton. Looking forward to having a great crowd and a great time. Bring your signs, posters, banners, all of the above, and bring yourself ready to rock and roll and have a little fun this Saturday night with the Peach State Wrestling Alliance. One other one I would like to go ahead and throw out there while I have a hot second, while we're going totally shameless in this realm. Gee, what a surprise. We do that around here. Saturday night, speaking of Georgia, Athens, Georgia, as Universal Championship Wrestling presents Clash of the Champions. UCW Heavyweight Champion Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner will be there. Television Champion Wes Briscoe will be there. Marcus Buff Bagwell will be there. Formerly known as the Bullet Babe, Amber O'Neal will be in the house. Got a lot of great stars at the Akins Ford Arena in Athens, Georgia on Thomas Street. Check out Universal Championship Wrestling on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and their home site as well. And I was going to save this for shameless plugs, but guess what? I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in here anyway. Since we're talking about moves being done, normally, see, this is a weird circumstance. I was originally going to be with Peach State Wrestling Alliance, but I also have a standing situation with Universal Championship Wrestling, so I was supposed to be in Athens this coming Saturday. But real life intervenes. What some people would call the shoot job, the real job, the daytime job. I call it the day job. Cryptic internet message of the week. Go figure, I can do night shift during daytime. Hey, gotta love that. Speaking of daydreams, I unfortunately will not be able to make my scheduled appearance this coming Saturday night in Athens with Universal Championship Wrestling. Looking forward, however, to returning with Peach State Wrestling Alliance on Saturday, March 16th. And on Saturday, April 6th, I'm sure quite a few have seen the post that was originally put out there, courtesy of Karen Smith, the owner, operator, and president of Coast to Coast Championship Wrestling. Had a great meeting with her yesterday. Details are going to be forthcoming, but yes, the deal has been signed. I will make my debut as Coast to Coast Championship Wrestling makes their official debut Saturday, April 6th in Moody, Alabama at the Moody Civic Center. If you saw the picture that's on social media right now, there are 3 people in that picture because the official signing for JP Magnum also took place yesterday. We had a meeting and we had a small conference at the Moody Civic Center itself. I personally had a chance to take a look at the venue and do an advance. I will be coming on board as ring announcer as well as on commentary. We're going to have a lot more announcements about signings inside the next couple of weeks. Of course, you know we're about 5 weeks away and genuinely looking forward to it. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I've made the statement that I'm coming out of my self-imposed exile for Alabama wrestling, and that's true. And this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go into the weeds for a hot second, because everybody, those of you who know me, you know that my final appearance, or my last appearance at a pro wrestling live event behind the microphone or in any capacity, was in August of 2017 at the final GCW Global Championship Wrestling live event in Pell City, Alabama. When everything went nuts the way it did here in Alabama, I said, you know something, that's it, I'm done. I won't work in this state for a while, and if I do, it's going to take a hell of a deal for me to come out of I'm done. I'm putting myself in exile. I mean, I had offers. I legitimately did. And there were some from friends in this industry. One in particular, because of the timing, there was a standing arrangement and understanding from the people who were running Zero Alliance Wrestling. And I'll put it out there, Wick, of course, being the president of the company. And he said, look, if you say no, I understand. If you say yes, I love it. But it also, my exile, self-imposed, gave some other people an opportunity to shine. Some of whom I am proud to call brethren, friend, family. One of whom is Mark Mabo Bowman from Beyond Ringside, live on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I am extraordinarily, and look, I'm not just saying because I got out of the way. Because I removed myself from the picture, he got that opportunity. I've been pushing for him to do something like this for a while. Bowman is incredibly talented, got a great head on his shoulders for the business, and any company that brings him on board is making a great move. So I actually was behind the scenes. It's like, look, get your ass out there and do this. And he did. And I am happy as hell that he did. So I will take no credit whatsoever, even though Ted Guinness might take 85% of the credit. Just like he's going to try to take 85% of Phil Stamper's IQ points. If you saw that post. But no, seriously. So, like I said,
Thank you for stalking me? I don't know what to say.
It just happened to show. It showed up on my timeline.
That's true. That's true.
The weirdest things show up on Facebook timelines, okay?
I know. After I post them and everything.
Look, my birthday rolled around, and I came to find out that Eddie Layne Powell had a friend-iversary with Eddie Layne, the Beyond Ringside page. It's like, hey, cool, how you doing? Me? Yeah, good. Happy friend-iversary, me. Okay, cool. But, yeah, in all sincerity, I opted to keep myself out of it because I didn't want to get caught up in anybody else's drama. So that's when this conversation, this deal's been in the works for a while now, I'm not going to lie. I've had some great conversations with Karen and some of the rest of the front office at Coast to Coast, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday night, April the 6th. Some say coming out of retirement. Okay, if I'm just putting myself into exile and not working as a retirement, then okay, fine, we'll call it that. So, like I said, for wrestling fans in the great state of Alabama, my home state, make your plans. Mark your calendars. Saturday night, April 6th, Coast to Coast Championship Wrestling in Moody, Alabama. It's going to be a great time and a great night. It's going to be rocking from start to finish. And cameras will be rolling there. So get ready, because we're looking for the people who know how to enjoy a live pro wrestling event. Staring at 15 before the top of the hour, there's 100 more things. I know that I can talk about the fact that my Birmingham Iron, undefeated at this point, great victory last week, returning to Legion Field this coming Saturday, and unfortunately, I can't be there either. Matter of fact, I should be at Legion Field the following Sunday when they take on Orlando and the return of Steve Spurrier to Birmingham, Alabama. I got tickled at a side note I saw earlier today. Jason Witten, who had retired from the Dallas Cowboys to move into the booth, has now decided to come out of retirement and rejoin the Cowboys. You know, that's a great way to take a year off, heal up, do some scouting and reconnaissance, and get paid for it. So my hat is off to Jason Witten for that regard. I don't know if he meant to do it that way or if it just worked out, but by God, it works out as a star move in my book. Gentlemen, in the week that has been so far, what has stood out to you, and what other than, and I know we kind of glossed over it, but I want to get, before I do that, the official turnover for last call and everything else, I do want to sit back and say, I joined the rest of the world when Reigns came out on Monday Night Raw when they showed the October bit on the VTR before the signature, and they hit his music and he comes out, I joined everybody else and I actually stood up and applauded. Why? Because what he was going through was no laughing matter. And I came back to a very simple rule when it comes to life. And as someone who's worked in television in various roles, including producer, I just simply sit back and say, this isn't television, this is real. And that's what I took it as. So that's why I stood up and applauded. And when he went, I mean, obviously he was very lighthearted about it, and he wouldn't go through an entire lighthearted scenario like that and emotional just to say, I'm done. You knew it was going to be good news. Most people could see that it was going to be good news. And when he said, I'm in remission, I had to stand up again and applaud, because to get news like that is tremendous. You always remember certain facets of different things that you're a part of, even if it is just watching it on television. And I remember my jaw hitting when he said the leukemia was back in October. It had flared back up, if you can call it that. And to be able to come back to this moment, this past Monday night on Raw, and be able to smile about it and say, and yes, I said point blank, you can like it, love it, hate it, don't matter. Thank God, is what I said. You may choose to thank nobody. You may choose to thank your deity. You may choose to thank modern science or whatever. That's cool. Don't knock me for the way I live. I won't knock you for the way you believe, or choose not to. Thank you. But I thought it was a great moment. I thought it was a stellar moment in television for the week. And it's something that hopefully, but I also love how he threw the precursor out to everybody when they were talking about the WrestleMania sign. You have to crawl before you can walk, and walk before you can run. Give it time. I thought that was a smooth move on his part. That part being said, I'll flip to Stan Grubb. Your thoughts?
Wow, I got a lot. First off,
then when you're done,
Lords of Pain.
When you're done,
First
flip
off,
to Phil.
Okay. You mentioned Lords of Pain. Let me just say I'm an avid reader and really appreciate their site. And you can find Corner to Corner there every other week.
You're a contributor there.
Well, of course, I gotta give Calvin Martin props because he's a good dude. All right, so here's the deal. Roman Reigns coming out, and any fan of the show, this show or Corner to Corner, or any Beyond Ringside show that I've ever been on, knows that I'm a Roman Reigns supporter. I always have been. Yes, I do recognize the criticism of what was weak with his character, what was good. However, I've always been a fan. So when he came out in October and he did this announcement, I'm one of those people that said, oh, wow, this is a work. I admit it. I did. I thought it was a work. But then when he goes and now suddenly he's like, yeah, my name's Joe, and I've been fighting leukemia, and it's like, damn, that sucks. So regardless of what you think of him as a wrestler, performer, you have to recognize just the magnitude of the announcement. So when the news breaks and says, hey, here comes Roman Reigns to give us an update as to his condition, instantly I'm like, oh, well, he's coming back. That's going to be what happens here. That's exactly what we're going to see here. And, I'm grateful that was what happened. And I'm proud to say that, he is in remission and kicking cancer's ass, which is absolutely what we would hope to see. And I have to agree with Eddie. I mean, I too was one of those that was like, yeah, this is an amazing moment in just life. It's one of those yay God kind of moments. And I'm cool with that. I think that's awesome. And I'm glad that he understood how the fans worked in that moment, and he knew his audience enough to say, you know what? Yeah, I know what you guys are saying. We'll get to that, but you got to walk or you got to crawl before you can walk. When he said that really carried a lot of weight with those fans that were angry with him, and also those fans that were skeptical of him coming back. And now we have the guy who can be hopefully come back to where he was and return to a main event in the future. I mean, we have a lot of main event talent there right now that needs the focus and needs their time. But I also feel like he is in an opportunity right now where whatever he does, at least for the next couple months, is going to be gold because the fans are going to love him for it. So it was cool to see like the closing moments of Raw where they come to the rescue of Dean and, you know, they're teasing like the come on, let's be buddies kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. A good feel good moment because when Dean did that turn, which I loved Dean's heel turn, by the way, it was okay. Yeah, they had to pull the heartstring. They had to pull the trigger because that was the moment to do so. I still agree that it was, but this brought it back full circle. And I was like, yeah, they were, at least for a moment in time, you can say WWE's writing and their talent and the reality of what life is all came together and had a nice little stars aligned kind of moment. So that was pretty cool.
You were supposed to throw to Phil when you're done.
Hey, Phil.
And what do you want me to say?
Tag, you're it, Phil.
I don't know.
Okay.
I stutter because to me it is what it is. I was surprised, as many people were, that they put him out there initially to talk about it. And no, I though, like I said before, 100% believe he had it. Apparently, he had leukemia previously in his life too. So the fact that it came back, that's a red flag. It's troublesome. He came back. He looks like he's in decent health. He looks like he's lost a little bit of weight, not in a bad way.
And definition.
And so it's good to see him back. It's good to see the response that he got in a very positive vein. And in a weird way, it's almost now like they've kind of guilted him into or guilted the crowd into responding positively to Roman Reigns because you're gonna boo him. He's just a cancer. You're gonna boo him. So like now there's almost like a guilt trip on the fans to like reprogram themselves.
It's so true though.
You know,
it is so true.
Cutting you off for a second, it's funny because I can imagine walking around the gorilla position through the opening, and the crowd going batshit crazy the way that they have. I'm not editing any of this in post, by the way. So we've dropped the fecal reference 5 times now, and I've got 3 of them. When him walking around and the crowd going the way they did and as loud as they did, yeah, it takes me almost dying to get this kind of pop from a crowd.
That's messed up.
He's not wrong though.
I'm not wrong.
I didn't say he was wrong. I just said it was messed up.
Surprise? No, not really.
Nah,
right.
nah.
So I mean it. Wow. So again, glad that he's back. That things are good on the health front. Time will tell what is going to happen storyline wise. There's already rumors out that they're going to reform the Shield for Fastlane. I think they haven't figured out how to really use Dean Ambrose. They haven't figured out how to get rid of Dean Ambrose. Hey, let's throw him in the Shield reunion before he leaves, possibly, if that's not a storyline. Because I've also said before very openly, and this is a general wrestling statement, like I believe nothing in wrestling. So like there's that too. So yes, I'm contradicting myself within the last 3 minutes. And I'm okay with that because it's wrestling. That's all I got. I don't know. I have really no point. Now I'm just rambling.
Okay, this part I am going to edit in post, and those of you listening live, you won't hear it either. Believe half of what you see, none of what you hear, and even less of what you read, especially if the name is attached to it. They didn't hear the name.
Why?
They didn't. They didn't hear the name.
Okay.
They didn't hear the name.
I heard it too.
Yeah, I know. I said we would hear it. I did post-production right then. It's like that. That's why I have this button in front of me.
Oh, he's got a dump button. Damn it.
No, to a degree, I have a dump button. It especially works for me, or if I know you're going to say it. If I know in advance, all I have to do is, and all I do is press the button.
Yeah, usually I am the one that puts the name out there, so you got a fair statement.
Yes, and of course, that would mean that Stan is normally the one who is guilty of mental masturbation.
Oh, well. Wow.
Well, we mentioned Lords of Pain. They're really bad about parroting his crap, too.
Well, come on now. Give Calvin some slack here. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice. Come on.
I'm sure Calvin's a very likable person, and this is not personal in any capacity whatsoever. But
no.
But if you're going to parrot somebody, make it a reputable source that actually has an effing clue.
I never forget the first time. I'll try to keep this quick. The first time I actually posted on Lords of Pain on the main page, I was so psyched, and then I saw one of the frequent copycats, Ryan Clark, who took one of good old Dave's posts and basically copied it word for word and took credit for the news break. And of course it really wasn't news. And I remember emailing Calvin going, dude, how in the world is this okay? It's the same stuff that I've seen on every other site, but at least they're crediting the right person. And he said, well, I don't want to get into censorship, but if it's really that big of a deal to you, I guess we could take it down. And I remember thinking to myself, well, yeah, it's a big deal, because I'm thinking from a journalist standpoint, trying to think I'm a journalist now. Wasn't even 21, and I'm thinking I'm a journalist. Okay. But I guess it was just one of those. Somebody needed to smarten me up real quick.
Okay. But here's the trick on that scenario, and this is where, Calvin, I have to stand by this statement. If you have someone on your website that takes a story that was written by someone else, regardless of how full of caca that person is, and that your person claims that story is their own, that is potentially liable on your part. It's called theft.
Well, he doesn't post anymore. As a matter of fact, not only does he not post anymore, he actually I don't even think he reports news anymore. So it caught up with him, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
It always does. I
mean, what is the word that I'm looking for? Plagiarism. Thank you.
Yeah.
You thought it, and I heard the thought before you said it. That's why we said it at the same time. Plagiarism.
Yeah, sooner or later that catches up to everybody. I mean, look at the guys from the New York Times. Look how many times they got popped.
Oh God, yes. They think they're above the law. Wrong answer. But of course, they'll print the stolen story, page 1, and they'll print the correction and the retraction back right below the cat funerals.
Oh, they still do it. They still do it to this day. They just kind of shuffle it under the radar so people don't really notice it as much.
Yeah. No. I believe if you steal a story and put it on page 1, you should put the retraction and correction on page 1. Just like if I erroneously say something during a show right now, lead off for the next show is going to be my correction and apology. But I have to stand by comments that have been made by Eric Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard when it comes to that particular individual who thinks he's a real observer on the world of professional wrestling. Dude, I don't care. He is not a credible source. I don't care who he bribes or who he blows. He's not a credible source.
I still think they send him bad news just to keep him entertained.
Well, I mean, back in the days when that was one of the primary ways for some things to get out and about, I'm sure you had people behind the scenes that say, hey, dude, here's something that's about to happen in my particular storyline. Speak ill of me when I'm gone. I mean, speak well of me when I'm gone. Da-da-da, you know the phrase. And it's like, but times have changed. This is where, and I was listening to Pritchard's Undertaker episode when Conrad asked the question about, well, you put this in the SmackDown magazine before you made it official on television. Why did y'all decide to eat it on the magazine? I have an easy answer that Bruce didn't use. We get to control our own press this way. We get to put it out there before the dirt sheets get a hold of it. and managed to make it look like their personal exclusive. Granted, SmackDown magazine did not have the same circulation as the Raw magazine, but still, you get to control your own press. Now, the three of us, in addition to other things that we do with respective companies, we handle promotion and marketing. The reason why we're successful at what we do is because we get to control the press on how things are distributed. Ain't that right, Phil?
Woohoo!
So,
Are you okay?
yeah, I'm just
All
dying.
right, buddy?
I'm just dying laughing because there was a line I really wanted to use, but I just held up. I held up. But no. And that's where, and I'm going to get off that topic because I have a personal moratorium on that twit's name being mentioned on this station unless it is in the context of the word and hashtag that I created, hashtag mental meltzerbation. That's plain and simple the way I look at him. I don't know him personally. I don't care to know him personally. If I meet him in person, I might do like Bischoff. Hey, let's go have a beer and talk about it. But I don't have to be nice about it. Not in this particular regard, especially when it's about as full of caca as a Nebraska bovine farm. Phil, you're about to say?
I have nothing that could beat a Nebraska farm. I'm sorry.
To which
I wasn't expecting that either.
Thank you.
Yeah, because actually when you said Nebraska, the first thing I thought was the Austin DeSanto, the 133-pounder from Iowa that made fun of the Nebraska wrestler that he was wrestling and literally walked him over to the other side of the mat and dumped him in front of his teammates to win the match.
Yeah. Tell you what.
Completely wrong in that environment, but I was like, dude, I so want him to be a professional wrestler.
Let's take it home. It's that time. Phil Stamper, last call, shameless plugs.
You can check out everything that's going on with me online at PS Phenom on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Just look me up. PS Phenom, PSPHENOM. Like I mentioned before, I'll see you this Saturday at Real Shoot Wrestling. Also, by the way, and this is not, I sort of mentioned it. I got a mysterious, creepy letter, and I don't know if it's creepy. I think somebody's just playing a rib, but I love it so much because now I'm intrigued by it. I got a letter, and I'm going to read it to you. I had to pull it up because it's in my car. You are invited. Think of this as a quest. A journey is about the destination, right? Mr. President, it's time for something new. Perhaps next week I'll have more for you. You'll never guess who. And there's coordinates on it. And it's coordinates for Mannington, West Virginia. Now, I bring this up because I found this letter. It wasn't given to me by I guess it was from a person, but it wasn't handed to me personally. I found it on the inside pocket of my winter coat that was in the back at MCW. The thing is, the coordinates are for Mannington, West Virginia, where Real Shoot Wrestling is this weekend. And there's nobody else at MCW that works for Real Shoot Wrestling except for me. So I'm like, this is a rib. So I'm waiting for the payoff. But I'm intrigued. I am now deeply, deeply intrigued by if anything will happen.
Stan Grubb, last call, shameless plugs.
Oh, gosh. I can be caught on Twitter, just like Eddie pointed out, at Stan from Krypton. But be sure to go to nothingelseon.tv. Check out Ultimate Championship Wrestling, debuting 4 shows. 4 shows, that's right. 4 episodes of Defiance right there live and for you on demand at nothingelseon.tv. Sean McMahon is creating waves in the UK right now. So for our friends across the pond, this is your chance to really get in and check out some of the hottest action in the Mid-Atlantic wrestling area. Outside of that, UCWforever.com and at UCWforever. WrestleFest is on the way, and you guys are going to be really excited to check it out. Stay tuned to the website and to Twitter at UCWforever because we're going to be announcing the card and the date very soon.
at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside, and Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. Quick program note that I thought Phil would cover, but he didn't. Wrestling promoters, if you have an upcoming live event, very simple thing to do. First off, you can drop over to the desk of Phil Stamper over on Facebook, or find Phil Stamper or Philip Stamper on Facebook at Facebook.com/PSPhenom. You can also find him on Twitter, but the real easy way to make sure he sees it is to send an email to
Stamper@WrestleReality.com.
Now, from mixed martial arts promotions, boxing promotions, live events, live sporting events, I don't care if it's roller derby, bowling, all of the above. If you're having a meet and greet, if you're doing a convention, beyondringside@gmail.com. The calendar is updated normally on Wednesday or Thursday. It was updated this morning. When you send the sporting event information over my way, I will add it to that calendar. When you send Phil the wrestling stuff, like I said, we have different ones. I could just easily say beyondringside@gmail, but I want to make sure that the wrestling events get on the calendar because we make sure that we put those up there. Same thing. Like I said, if you're doing a live event, a meet and greet, a signing. Now, if you're just doing a retail special, no, sorry, not interested, not unless you can buy a commercial here on the show. I know that's a prickish thing to say, but there's a difference between a convention and somebody just trying to sell an action figure out of the box for $20. Sorry. But like I said, Stamper@WrestleReality.com. As far as live pro wrestling events, calendar is updated weekly. And of course, same thing for mixed martial arts, boxing, all of the above, live sporting events. Love to find out about them. Send over the information. It's always appreciated. And if we see it on social media, or if you tag us on social media, especially Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside, we'll share it, and we'll share it over to the fan page as well. BeyondRingside.com is home, as well as ProWrestlingRadio.net. Thank you to everybody tuning in to the Beyond Ringside channel on TuneIn Radio. There are so many different ways you can find us. For everybody who has found us, we thank you very much. For those that have been telling your friends and family about us, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. One quick one real quick. Don't forget Peach State Wrestling Alliance this Saturday night, March 2nd, Carrollton, Georgia. Universal Championship Wrestling this Saturday night in Athens, Georgia. Friday, March 1st, Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster, Alabama. I host Friday night karaoke. Start time 9 o'clock p.m. Always a great time. So if you're in the central Alabama area, come on down. Promenade Shopping Center, Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster. Come along for the ride. Let's have a little fun. Folks, real quick, also don't forget at Ted Guinness on Twitter, at Shane Noles on Twitter. You can find both gentlemen on Facebook as well. I apologize. My timing's off. We didn't do trivia tonight. Hate it when that happens. But, of course, Ted and Shane should both be back with us next Thursday night. Going to head for what I like to call the Radio Ranch. We thank everybody for tuning in live. We thank you also for catching us on replay, including through iHeartRadio. For Phil Stamper.
One about a bing bang.
For Stan Grubb.
Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
I am the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne, saying until next time, join us right here as we all go Beyond Ringside on the Shooters Gallery on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net. Bye for now.